What's going on, YouTube? I'm glad to be back. Happy New Year. Welcome 2025. It's going to be a big year for everybody, I hope. So I just been thinking about the IT stuff that I've been, teaching you guys a little bit and how to get in. And I kind of wanted to get more in depth in this video of like, how do you get a help desk job, right? So everyone wants to get into tech, but they don't want to start from the bottom. And the help desk, if you ask anybody, is the best place to start. Especially if you have no experience and you don't have any education and you started from scratch. Help desk is the best place to start. So I'm just gonna go down, like, I didn't even script this. I'm just going down from my experience at the help desk, what I would have done differently, how you should get started right now, and little tips and tricks, and we're just gonna dive down this rabbit hole. So let's start. Let's go live. All right, cool. So let's pull up the new sheet. Okay. Alright, so let's start with why help desk is the best start. Alright, so people want to jump into IT, right? And they want to go into, let's say, software engineering or project management or cybersecurity, right? Those positions aren't really entry level positions, right? You'll see people put up videos like get into cybersecurity in 90 days or become a program manager or whatever in like 90 days. That's not the reality, right? Like, you have to work your way up like every other industry. IT is just like every other industry. You gotta start from the bottom, right? But what the help desk is, right, is your foundation, right? What I love about IT versus other industries or other career paths is that there's no real ceiling in IT. So it's not like when you start at help desk, you're never going to use that stuff moving forward, right? So when you start at help desk, it's your foundation and you're going to use it for the rest of your life, like the rest of your career. You know what I mean? So let's start off, what is help desk, right? What is help desk? Help desk is the first line of defense, first line of help for a company, right? So you have a corporation, let's say Bank of America, right? Bank of America has, let's say 5,000 employees, right? Those 5,000 employees need to log into their systems, right? So when they log into their systems to go to work every single day, they're going to have trouble. Some of them don't know their passwords. Some of them don't have the right permissions, right? So they have to call somebody, right? Their monitor might not be working. Their printer, they might not be working. So they're having some type of issue. They have to. They're not going to call Microsoft to help them fix their problems. They're not going to call Google to help them fix their problems. They're going to call their internal IT team, right? So when I'm talking right now about help desk, I'm talking about the internal IT team. I'm not talking about a help desk that's helping like customer service type of help desk. I'm talking about help desk for internal companies. So you're helping the employees at that company, right? So when the sales manager at Bank of America has trouble logging into his system to be able to do his sales reports or whatever he's doing, he's going to call the IT help desk. The help desk level 1 is the first line of defense, right? So he's going to be the first person he talks to. So you're going to pick up the phone and say, hello, IT, John speaking, right? Then the guy on the other line is going to say, oh, hey, John, I can't get into my account today, right? And you're going to say, okay, cool. Like, what's the issue? What error message are you getting on your end, right? And then you're going to go down through the prompts and kind of figure it out. What that is called troubleshooting, okay? So most people don't understand the basics of what troubleshooting is. All troubleshooting is fixing a problem, okay? So my number one tip to all the guys that I've trained on the help desk is the best thing to do, the first thing you do, and the most important thing you do when you troubleshoot is you gather information, right? So you need to get on the phone and say, hey, so you can't get onto your account. So are you trying to get in on your phone? Are you trying to get in on a laptop, on a computer? Are you trying to log in remotely? Are you in the office? Are you at home? You're trying to get all this information. Are you on a Mac? Are you on a PC? Are you on an iPhone? Are you on an Android? Right? Because every different device, every different operating system, they're going to have its own, they're going to have all different types of troubleshooting, right? So that is the beginning of troubleshooting, right? And then once you kind of figure out what the problem is, Then now you go into your tool belt and solve that problem depending on the situation, location, device, etc. Right? But now don't get overwhelmed, right? You don't have to know all the answers to the problem. That's why the help desk and the whole IT department has levels, right? So now when you don't understand a problem, you're just going to escalate it up, right? You're just going to tell the person above you, like, hey, I have this user that is not able to sign in. I tried doing, you tell them steps that you try to run through, right? I did step 1, step 2, step 3. Those aren't working. Can you help me with this? Can you solve this problem? And they're going to end up solving the problem because they've probably been around the block longer than you. They probably have more information than you. So they'll end up solving the problem for you, right? When they solve the problem for you, now you know how to solve that problem going forward, right? So a big thing that I did, and I wish I did even earlier when I started, was I took a lot of notes and I did a lot of documentation. Documentation and notes is just your life at the help desk because you want to have everything written down. I had so much notes written down that I ended up creating like a whole help desk guide at the company that I work for. And now all the new trainees after me use that guide because it has all the answers. This is, if you have a problem with this software, this is what you need to do. If you have a problem with this device, this is what you need to do. So my main tip with that is always take notes. Write down your own notes. The company you work for is going to have documentation, but make sure you have your own documentation as well. All right, cool. So let's see. How do you get into IT? How do you get into help desk? So my main things right now that I've been recommending to people, let's do CompTIA A+. All right, so CompTIA certification. I love the whole CompTIA stack in general. I just got my Security Plus, and I'm looking into the CYSA Plus, and I'm also looking into the Linux Plus. But the A Plus is where you should start if you have no IT experience. Why doesn't it just show A Plus certification? All right, so this is the best place to start. Is just learning what this is. So it's just CompTIA A Plus industry standards for establishing a career in IT. Okay. You can kind of go through this page, read it over. What skills you'll learn? Hardware. You'll learn the basic of hardware, networking, operating system, troubleshooting, what we just talked about, basics of security, software troubleshooting, operation procedures, cloud computing, a little bit, mobile devices, right? Jobs you will land with the CompTIA A+, help desk, right here. So where you start, help desk, right? And all of these, if you have just CompTIA A+, I don't think you'll become a service technician or a data support technician, but you'll most likely be technical support specialist, help desk, IT specialist. Yeah, that's kind of where you want to be. Yeah. So dive down this page, look at the exam details, and sign into that. Let me give you actually some resources for the A+. If you go to A+, let's go to so Professor Messer, I'm pretty sure, has the best one. Yeah, Professor Messer has a whole course. I'll put it in the chat. He has a whole playlist right here. It's all free, and he breaks down every single piece. The other thing that I recommend is MS900. So MS900 is Microsoft's fundamental course, right? So 90% of companies, maybe 99.9% of companies use basic Microsoft 365. And if you could understand 365 from just a basic level, it will help you get a job. So cloud concepts, right? Everyone's moving into the cloud, either from a hybrid perspective or fully cloud. So understanding what the cloud is a great start. It's going to describe Microsoft 365 apps and services, security, compliance, privacy. Everyone wants to be security. Like, security is the number one thing that every company is looking for, because that's the whole point of the IT team. Is we don't want to lose data. We don't want to get held for ransomware. Security plays a huge role in IT. So understanding that from a basic level is really good. And then pricing, licensing, and support. You're not really going to do anything with pricing at the help desk, but at least understanding licenses, like what an F3 license is, what an E3 license is, and kind of, what people get with that, because that's mostly what we do too, is give people licenses for different Microsoft applications. So this is another test to sign into. There's a study guide right here. There's probably videos. No, they don't have videos for this exam. The videos. But so the test is $99. But if you use a company email, you can try a company email or a school email. You get it for 50% off. What else do we have? Some skills like Active Directory, right? That's a big skill to know. I don't know if CompTIA goes over Active Directory, but if you understand what Active Directory is, you're kind of ahead of like 90% of people that's starting the help desk. But pretty much Active Directory is just a domain controller. Domain is like google.com is a domain name, right? So Active Directory pretty much is a directory for a domain. So like Google's Active Directory would be like pretty much covering all domains at Google, right? So it would be like, well, there's thousands of ways to configure it, but from a basic level, anyone that has it at Google email would be in their Active Directory. So mine would be like john@google.com, right? That would be my email, and I would be inside of Google's Active Directory. So what Active Directory does is pretty much control basic permissions and like reset your password, like pretty much controls my account, right? And you want to know what Active Directory is. You don't need to be an expert on it, but if they bring it up in an interview, you want to know at least what Active Directory is and what it does. So I would dive down that. I would just do this just for GP, but what is Active Directory? Right? Go down this rabbit hole, learn some of these videos. Professor Messer, actually it is an A+, see? Active Directory, perfect, I didn't even know it. I never took the A+, so I have no idea what's really all on it, but so exactly, so if you go through A+, Active Directory's in it. Understand Active Directory, that's gonna be the main thing you're gonna work on at a help desk job. What else? We talked about troubleshooting, we just talked about Active Directory, the basics, like let's go through the basics. What is an IP address, right? You need to know what an IP address is. One of the questions I got asked in my help desk interview actually was, what is the max number, like IP address, what is the max number for the last number? And the answer is 255. But he didn't expect me to know it, but if I knew it, it would have been a crazy bonus. I had no idea what it was at the time. But yeah, so actually let me see if I can pull out command prompts. Let's see. IP config. Alright, so my IP address right now is 192.168.56.1. That's my IPv4. My subnet mask 255.255. IPv6. This is my IPv6. Alright, and then now you could learn a basic prompt of just pinging that IP address. So we'll do ping 192.168. This mic's in my way. 56.1. All right, and if I do, let's just do that. So what a ping is doing, right? It's pretty much seeing if it's online. So I'm calling that IP address to see if it's online. If it doesn't respond and it says timeout, then that means it's not online. And the practical use for that is, say you're working at Bank of America again, right? And now you're working on a bunch of different servers, right? Like Bank of America is not in one location, right? So say you're working out of Boston, right? But then now you're troubleshooting a computer in Texas, right? You're going to get that IP address, and while you're troubleshooting, you're going to have, so I can press the up arrow, -T, right? And it's just going to, -T just means it's going to, like, it's just going to ping that forever. So say if it's timing out, I could ping it while it's timed out. While I'm troubleshooting on the phone, I can see when it's back up and running. You could do that. You could ping computers, you could ping servers. It's pretty much just trying to see if you're getting an answer. And then since I can just clear stop. All right, let's try 23. I'm pinging that IP address. Host unavailable. So that means I have it's timeout, right? So now there's no device that is under 5623 under my network, right? So if I do this again and I do -T, and this is a command prompt, by the way. You should dive down this a little bit just to understand what it is. I don't think you need to know it completely, but it's a good, tool to have. But I did the -T, so this is just going to keep timing out until a device goes into port 23. Not port 23, but IP 5623. So if I'm troubleshooting a device and this is their IP address, I'm just going to do this -T and let it run the whole time while I'm on the phone. I'm like, hey, did you do this? Did you restart it? Blah, blah. Once I get a ping back, like a request back, like this one, that's saying it's online, then I know my job is done right. All right, so that's IP addresses. What else can we talk about? Talk about Active Directory. We talked about IP addresses. Microsoft, understanding Microsoft, Active Directory, A+. All right, now let's just talk about like some few like interview tips and just like what I would look for if I was hiring someone and how your mindset of going into an interview. They're not, from a help desk level 1, right? They're not so concerned with your skill set, right? They don't want you to know everything. You're level 1 for a reason. They know you don't know everything. But what they want to see is that you're passionate about technology and you're willing to learn. Technology isn't an industry where you're going to learn a system and you're going to do that same thing for the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, right? You're going to learn something, but you're going to keep adding more things onto your plate. The responsibilities are going to, your workload is going to get more as you start dropping off other stuff to other people, because then now you don't need to do passwords anymore. Now the next new guy's doing the passwords, and now you're doing printers, and now you're not doing printers anymore. Now you're doing servers, and now you're not doing servers anymore. Now you're doing, but you have to keep evolving. So my main recommendation for you guys is when you go into the interview, you say that you're passionate about technology and you're willing to learn. That line right there alone will get you a job. I promise you. All right. Couple other things. Let me see. If you want to go into the school route, WGU has a really great program that you kind of work on your own. I haven't done it personally, but a lot of people speak highly of it. So they're like a certificate-based program. So a lot of people that have it, they get their certs, so they get all like the CompTIAs and stuff like that. So look into this. It's like 6-month terms. It's a little weird, but look into WGU. When I went to school, I went to SNHU, which is I actually graduate next month with my computer science degree. But SNHU is all from home. You pretty much do it at your own pace. They have a great program as well. Let's go technology. Bachelors. They have a bunch of different information technology, cybersecurity, so computation. And the only reason why I'm bringing up school is because I got my first job just because I was enrolled in school. So I was like, hey, like I'm in school right now for computer science. You don't have to be computer science. It could be anything. It could be IT. It could be whatever you want. Cybersecurity, whatever, data analytics, whatever. And that played a big role in me getting a job, was that I was just enrolled in school. Just the fact that I was enrolled in school probably got me my job. So we're talking about passion. If you want to do that, I was actually having a conversation with my nephew the other day, and we were talking about projects, right? So he ended up building his like gaming computer for like his streams and stuff, and I was like, bro, you got to put that on your resume, right? So IT is one of the few jobs that you can say that you built a gaming computer and it would actually help you on your job, right? So one of my questions actually in my interview for my help desk job was, they asked me if I played any games. I was like, yeah. He was like, oh, do you play on console or PC? I was like, I played on PC. And he was like, oh, what's your, like, did you build it? And I was like, nah, I bought mine pre-built. And I was like, damn, that was like an opportunity right there. But at the time when I bought my PC, I wasn't really fully invested in the IT world. But yeah, so like projects like that, like building your own gaming PC. I'm not saying you need to do that, but that's a thing you talk about, right? Other projects, I don't know. Be ready to tell stories, right? So in an interview, you have to be able. There's this thing called the STAR method. Actually, I'll bring that up now. Look up the STAR method. Don't spend too much time on this, but just understand what it is. It's just a way to tell stories in an interview. Situation, task, action, results. But you can pretty much do the STAR method right now. Like, let's say situation. My mom called and said that the Wi-Fi wasn't working. The task, I had to go to the house and troubleshoot the Wi-Fi. Action, I unplugged the router, unplugged it back. Results, it worked. That's the STAR system. But you tell them that in a story, right? So have a couple of those troubleshooting your mom, your grandmother, troubleshooting your own PCs at home, whatever the situation is. Have a couple of those stories in your back pocket for the interview. All right, now let's wrap this up. It's getting kind of long. So, all right. So the goal of help desk, right? Your goal of help desk is to get your foot in the door, right? This is part of the conversation I also had with my nephew the other day too. He's learning like the A+ right now, and he's kind of just going through the stuff. He's learning like what a RAM is, what a CPU is, all that stuff. Once you're learning, but you're not in the game. You're still on the sideline. So until you get that first job, you're on the sideline. But day one, when you start your help desk job, now you're in the real game. So now you're in a real environment. You're touching things. You're a sponge. You're just soaking up all this information, right? But you can't let the energy die, the motivation die from after you get your first job, because that's when the game just starts. That's when you get in the game. You got subbed in. Now it's time to play. But you're still not the man yet. You're at help desk. So you need to come in with a hungry mindset, a sponge, just learning, taking notes. But when you get off of work, now you need to be learning from okay, where am I gonna go inside of IT? Because now you're in the game, but you don't know what type of player you are. You don't know your niche. You don't know why you're on the team. Are you the 3-point shooter? Are you the dribbler? Are you the assist man, right? So when you're in IT, when you're at the help desk, you don't know your role yet. But you can start finding weaknesses in the team. You don't need to tell anybody these weaknesses, but you can just be like, hey, I see that, we have network guys, but we don't have cloud guys. I see we have cybersecurity. So you want to have a mix of your team and a mix of what you actually like, right? So like, you got to add skills to yourself that are valuable, but also needed, right? Because if no one needs the skill, then there's no point of building the skill, right? So they say like you need to build in-demand skills. So if the skill's not in demand, then there's no point in building the skill. Like right now, it's really big on AI, right? It's really big on governance is really big right now. Cybersecurity is really big right now. Cloud admins, cloud engineers, right? So you're gonna go down that rabbit hole. So try to find out where you fit in. Another thing is, try to build your skill set off of the environment that you work in, right? So if you get a help desk job and your company is using AWS, start learning AWS. Get an AWS certification after you get your first job, right? If they're using Azure, start going down the Azure rabbit hole. Learn more about Azure. If you're in a Google environment, go Google. But yeah, so now I'm just kind of just rambling. But when you get in that first job, your goal is just to touch everything, take notes, be a sponge, and try to map out your career path. Try to map it out from the first year. The second year, start implementing. But the first year, you're just touching everything, doing deep dives on everything, trying to figure stuff out, asking your manager for this, just talking to the network team, talking to the cloud team, picking their brains. Hey, what do you think about this? Wait, are we weak here? But yeah, guys, just wanted to drop that video for you guys because I think I didn't go enough in depth in the last time we talked about tech. If you have any questions, let me know. Reach out to me, comments, email, whatever the situation is. Yeah, hope you guys have a great day, great week, great year. Peace.